Welcome, everybody, and thank you for joining us on our community forum today. Laurie Davenport is the Communications Director at Tacoma Probono, and I will shortly hand over the meeting to her so that she can tell you all about their services. I'm Maureen Riley. I'm the Operations Director here at the Mustard Seed, and we are, as you know, entering a very exciting time. Our assisted living and memory care homes are very soon to open as soon as we get the final approval from the State Fire Marshal. And we finished some paperwork after that. We are starting all sorts of new programs here at the Crandall Center, including bingo, cribbage, Tai Chi. We are still having our sales, Stay Active and Independent for Life classes. We have multiple art classes coming up, which you can find, excuse me, on our website and on our Facebook page. And we're hoping that you will join us. We're very pleased to have Laurie here. We have recently started hosting Tacoma Pro Bono once a month here at the Crandall Center, and I'm looking forward to hearing more about what they do and how they can help. Thank you, Laurie.
Great, thank you, Maureen. Hi, everybody. It's not raining yet, but it has been a beautiful time. We are so grateful to be starting out. We've had one session so far at the Mustard Seed, and we had some people show up, and we were able to provide some help. So that's exciting. I think just starting out in a whole new place, people not having that much lead time to get to know about us. It shows there's a lot of need. There's a lot of need everywhere in Pierce County, but Key Peninsula has some special needs, and if we don't come out there, there are just an awful lot of people who can't get to downtown Tacoma to see us. So we're grateful for the opportunity. So Tacoma Pro Bono is our name, and actually our full name is Tacoma Pro Bono Community Lawyers. Despite the Tacoma Pro Bono name, we work all over Pierce County. We're here for anybody who has a civil legal case in Pierce County, and that can mean a whole lot of different things. That could mean a family law case like a divorce, child custody, child support, anything like that having to do with family in our courts here in Pierce County. It could be a housing issue. It could be a will. It could be all different kinds of things. Really, civil refers to anything that is not a criminal case. If you have not been accused of a crime, there are services out there to help you if you have. But that's kind of where I always like to start talking about civil legal issues, because I think everybody pretty much knows that if you don't have the means to hire an attorney and you are accused of a crime and you have to face that charge, you are entitled to get an attorney to represent you. It may not always be perfect. It may not be the attorney you chose, but you have that right. And in our society, we do not have the right to an attorney if we can't afford to engage with the legal system being represented by a lawyer. We still have to do it ourselves. There is no provision except in eviction hearings now in Washington. We have the provision for the court to be able to appoint counsel, but that is really the only area in which the law says, yes, okay, you can't afford this. All right, we will appoint an attorney for you. That does not happen in a divorce case. That does not happen in other types of housing cases. It doesn't happen most of the time. And court is difficult. The law is difficult to understand. Terminology turns people off and makes them feel excluded from the whole area. It's a very difficult thing. So we're dealing with a problem that has a lot of ramifications for people. People come up against a legal issue and don't know what to do about it. And our studies have shown that most of the time what happens is people just don't do anything because they feel they can't. And that's really what we're up against as a society and us as an organization. We're dealing with the fact that most people don't feel like there is help there for them. So one of our big missions is to go out and tell people we may not be able to represent everyone, we may not be able to help everyone, but we are here and there are a lot of problems we can solve. And a lot of the problems that we work on with people are really do have simple solutions, and it does empower people to understand that they can actually deal with some of these things in their life. So that's what we're all about, civil legal issues. We do not charge for anything that we do. Clients do have to be eligible, which in most cases means 200% of the federal poverty level. And that changes every year, and it's a kind of a matrix depending on your household size. So I should have brought those figures with me, and I don't have them. It encompasses a surprising number of people. It's when I first started working in this field, and by the way, I'm not an attorney, so don't ask me anything. I can't give you advice, but I got into this kind of by a back door, and have other reasons for being pretty passionate about it. But the point is, you do have to qualify. 200% of the federal poverty level encompasses an awful lot of people. There are a lot of other resources out there for people who make more than that or otherwise don't qualify, and we're able to, give people everything we know that we can help them with, even if they're not eligible for us. As it turns out, most people who are facing housing problems, majority of people who are facing family law problems and really cannot afford an attorney really do fall within our services for one reason or another. So that's not a huge issue. If you if you feel that you have a problem we can help with, apply. We'll tell you if you're not eligible for one reason or another. So Tacoma Pro Bono Community Lawyers is our full name. We have been around since the county was founded, which is 1852, not as Tacoma Pro Bono Community Lawyers, but as we were up until 2021 part of the Tacoma Pierce County Bar Association, and that's where our name derives from. That's why we kept the Tacoma, so we could comfortably stay in the same part of the alphabet. That's where we landed, but we wanted to change the name a bit because we're not part of the bar anymore. We're a close cousin of the bar because we use hundreds of volunteers from our local Pierce County bar to do work for us and to work for our clients. There's a lot of committed people here, but that's not all we are. We have over 40 employees now, and we are probably one of the biggest law firms in Pierce County. We have more than 20 staff attorneys working in housing, believe it or not. We work in eviction defense, we work in eviction prevention. So that's a pretty big deal. And like I mentioned, Washington, as of 2021, instituted, originally they called it right to counsel, which is kind of what it's called around the nation. There's been a huge move. It began with cities like New York and San Francisco to provide, because eviction is such a huge problem. It's one of the biggest drivers of poverty. It's one of the areas where we see the most, where we have an opportunity to do the most anti-racist work, because eviction unduly affects people, Black and brown people, people who are disadvantaged one way or another in our society tend to experience eviction more. It perpetuates poverty. It doesn't do any good for anyone. So our Washington state government realized that we can do something about this. And especially following the pandemic, when the eviction moratorium ended, they decided, okay, let's see if we can get this through the legislature, implement this, and actually give people some tools to work with so that they can, if possible, stay in their homes. So what happens with that program, it's now called appointed counsel, because what really happens is the court is empowered by this law to appoint an attorney to represent you if you are low income and you're facing an eviction. So we do that work, and that's where most of our attorneys work. Some of our attorneys work in the what we call eviction prevention. We call it our help team, because when you begin to think about it, why would you put all your manpower at the end of the process to defend people when they've already gone through a bad experience with your landlord, or they already owe too much rent or whatever? Why not nip those problems in the bud? Why not get in there when the landlord is maybe not making repairs and the tenant's withholding rent and the problem escalates? Why not get in there and help the tenant deal with the landlord and maybe not have that eviction happen? So we do that kind of work too. So really anything that's related to housing, we want to get those cases. We want people to come to us. There are so many different kinds of cases that can happen. There's no one thing that everybody's experiencing, although it kind of does feel like that during the pandemic and post-pandemic. But so I just wanted to make that point that like housing is big for us. We have a lot of capacity. So feel free to, come and ask for help. Another big thing that we do is family law. Family law is more complicated. As everybody probably knows, if you've been through a family law issue or know anybody who has. I know a lot of lawyers who started out as ordinary people who then got a divorce and then decided, I need to do this. I've learned so much going to court that I need to become a lawyer. So that's not necessarily a good thing for the average person. A normal divorce is a big, full-blown lawsuit that can potentially go to a trial. And particularly because they tend to happen in times of crisis, times when children are involved, times when property is involved, times when people are angry at each other. Dynamics are not as what they should be. It's a horrible confluence of things that happens. And then it hits the legal system. And what do people do? And then when you start to look at, okay, what forms do I need? If I need to get a divorce, I need to get custody of the kids. I need to make sure I have a car and a job. And you get a stack of forms that's like that. And a lot of work has been done to make them more understandable and usable, but I don't think we're there yet. And all that work, all it did was make the stack higher. So people are very intimidated by that. Unfortunately, because when we're talking about family law, we're usually talking about going to court and going through procedures that, like I said, it's a big lawsuit. It's a big thing. It's the same kind of process as if you went through a criminal trial. There's just a lot that needs to happen. There are motions, there are responses to motions, there are interrogatories, there are pre-trial things that you have to do. There's evidence, there's exhibits, there's all the fun stuff that people don't want to hear about because they don't know what it means. So it's a really big challenge for us to deal with that stuff, to try to give people the help they need, to try to educate people, because these cases are so large. It's very difficult for one attorney to, for free, take on a case that may last for maybe a year and a half and may be very contentious and may go back to court over and over and over. Those kinds of things are expensive. If you were to pay an attorney, divorce attorney in downtown Tacoma to represent you in a divorce like that, $400 an hour probably. And if the other side really thinks it's a good idea to keep taking you back to court to harass you, which does happen, that's really a lot of money. And even if it's just like more of a standard divorce, an attorney in private practice will be giving up $25,000 in their practice just to represent somebody all the way through their case. So we try to use our volunteer attorneys, who are awesome, in such a way that we can help people through their divorce, help people represent themselves as much as they possibly can, but make sure that they get the advice they need, make sure that they're filling out the right forms, and make sure that they don't miss anything. So we do a lot of the family law we do through clinics. And we want people to understand that if you've got a family law issue, you're eligible, please come to us, please apply. If we don't have room in a family law clinic, we will tell you that. Keep calling back, keep reapplying. We will get you in. It's just the volume of people who need help versus the resources that we have to help it's not a good enough ratio. We're working constantly to try to make it better. And we do good work, but we do have more resources in the area of when we're talking about survivors of domestic violence. Pretty much has to be intimate partner violence that we're talking about, because that's kind of the way these things end up being funded. Again, huge demand for this kind of work, especially during and after the pandemic. There was an increase in the amount of domestic violence, and we're still experiencing that. Same family law issues apply, except it's obviously escalated if violence is involved. So we do have some capacity. We now have a family safety project. We have 3 attorneys, 1 paralegal, and 1 licensed legal technician, which is wonderful for us. We just haven't had that capacity anytime in the past. So we're very lucky to have the family safety project. And we screen all the applications for family law that come through. If we see that there's domestic violence involved, that ups the priority. So that capacity is also there. We want people to know about that. Again, we're always inundated, but the more specific we can be, the better we can work within our priorities, the more people can know about what we do and how we do it and how we operate, the better, because we want to be able to get people help. That's the big thing. And then the third biggest part of our program is the clinics. And most of those are managed by, it's not a clinic like where you come in and a whole bunch of people are seen together. It's an individual appointment that people get. And most of the time it's with a volunteer attorney. The reason we use volunteers is because, like if you think about it in terms of lawyers are like doctors. You know, you can have a GP, you can, but you wouldn't necessarily go to your GP if you had a really serious heart problem or a horrible skin problem, or because doctors specialize and the GP isn't going to be able to maybe treat what's wrong with you. So you go to a specialist. And in the law world, specialists do things like wills and probate and estates and bankruptcy and auto accidents and just all the kinds of things that can happen in the world, again, are not criminal, that where you need to go to court or you need to respond to something or you need to start some action yourself or you just need advice. These are all really specialized areas. Like guardianship is another one that we do. So again, we just encourage people to contact us with what you need. And that's how we recruit volunteers. That's how we set up the number of clinics that we have. The family law people who work with us in those clinics, those are very powerful. We can get a lot done in those clinics. So that's really basically the 3 pieces of what we do. The other piece that's really important to know about us is how to contact us, because when we have, even though we're big now, when we started out, there was only a half of me, and that was about 22 years ago. So we've gone from half of me to over 40. That's pretty good. And the ratio is better, but it's still not what we need to solve these problems, because it's a society-wide, system-wide thing that we're very slowly trying to improve. So as you can imagine, contacting us is difficult, and there are a lot of other people out there trying to contact us at the same time. So that's why we set up our online intake form, which is fast and easy, and it's right on our homepage of our website. Easy to fill out. Once it gets filled out, someone will call back and ask any additional questions, determine eligibility, look for conflicts, and go ahead and schedule whatever they can schedule for you, and or tell you, oh, well, we can't help you, but this organization can, or whatever. So, and that will happen sometimes. There are certain things we can't do. We really don't do on any kind of a large scale immigration, for instance. That's again another specialized doctor field. And we have a great organization in Pierce County that does do that work. So we're a good door to go through to get to some of these other organizations as well. So online intake form is number 1. It's great. But it doesn't do it for everybody. I can't tell you how many times I talk to people and tell them, oh, great, that's easy just to apply, or just look here for more information or resources. And they'll say, well, I don't have a computer. I don't know how to use a computer. I have low vision. I'm limited in my ability to use a computer. So we try to make something that works for everybody. We do have, we discovered that over the years, phones are really not our friend, because voicemail is impossible. So many people are calling in crisis, needing help. They fill up our voicemail. There's no way that we can dedicate staff time to answering voicemails and answer the phone at the same time. It's, if you figure out a way, please let me know, but we have not. So what we do is we have open phones, 10 to noon and Monday through Thursday, 10 to noon, 1 to 3 p.m. There will be someone who answers the phone. So that's the time to call, and they can do an intake over the phone for you. And then we will go from there to, assign you to a clinic, get you an appointment with an attorney, whatever needs to happen. The other thing you can do, which is great and sometimes subject to us being closed because we don't have staff, but our main office is open 1 to 3 p.m. Monday through Thursday. People can just walk in downtown Tacoma and we'll do an intake right then. So you can actually also talk to us in person. And back to the phones too, it's really important to realize that we don't have voicemail. So if you call during times when we're not answering the phone, people call because they get panicky and they feel like they want to contact us, so they call the number. And it feels like it's a black hole. It's not. We're just trying to get you to contact us some other way because voicemail will not work. So the other thing that is fantastic now, and this is fairly new, our Housing Justice Project, which is the overarching part of our organization that does housing work. It houses our appointed council people, the people who will go to eviction court with you, and it also houses the eviction prevention people who will intervene with your landlord and say, hey, you better repair that refrigerator, that kind of thing. So they're all in one place, and they're all at 601 Tacoma Avenue South, which is right next door to our main office. It's right, if you've gone down 6th Avenue as far as you can go, like get off the bridge and keep going on 6th Avenue, it's right on the corner of 6th and Tacoma Avenue South, and actually the door faces the corner diagonally. So it's really easy to find. It used to be a Spanish language school, and it's all glass on the outside. 601 is open for walk-ins. If you have a housing issue, 9 to noon and 1 to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday. We have a great receptionist. We want to see people who have received a notice from their landlord or a summons and complaint for eviction. We want to encourage you to come in. And I can talk about that a little bit more depending on, I don't want to keep blabbering if people have questions or, want to hear about another topic, but that's a really important thing to know about as well. So those are the main ways to contact us. I'm not sure if we have questions coming in, or I think you had a question.
Directions.
Yeah.
Is the online intake form something that our information and referral volunteers could help with? That somebody that really doesn't know how to use a computer or doesn't have one could come to our office?
Absolutely. Yeah. And definitely there are people who can't cope with that form, but it's still a really quick way. And it's a good way to know, like yesterday, for instance, I had somebody email me, a case manager, I can't remember where from, who said, look, I just had my client complete the online intake form. I want to tell you the best way to get hold of him because he has some challenges. And so, she gave me that information. I relayed that to the receptionist who looked up his online intake, and that got taken care of. So we're happy to communicate with somebody who will, help facilitate that. Yeah, it's a good idea.
Great. Nelda, did you have a question?
I think she's muted.
Can you hear me?
Now I can.
Okay. We get calls here from people requesting attorneys to help them prepare their wills. Did I understand correctly? This is more specialized and you don't really work with this type of law?
It is more specialized, and it requires that people get together in person because wills have to be notarized and witnessed. Yeah, so we are, what we do in that area depends on, because it is specialized, it depends on us having volunteers who are willing to, say, okay, I'm willing to do like a monthly wills clinic so people can come in. At this present moment, I don't think we have that, but sometimes we do, and sometimes we're able to make a specific referral to a private attorney. So I would say, yes, if people have that need, contact us. If we have a clinic open, we can take care of it. If we don't, we will let you know, and you can, continue contacting us until we do. But we will have that capacity again. I just know for sure that we don't right now.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. And the other thing that I should mention, which I guess I kind of left this off, and it's really important because that's why we're here, actually. We do legal aid pop-up events all over the county. And the reason we're here today is because we got connected with the Mustard Seed Project, which is great. And that allows us to have more presence on Key Peninsula. We also go out to Key Peninsula Community Services. So second Tuesday of the month, we're here all day. We're here at KPCS in the morning, Mustard Seed in the afternoon. We can arrange sometimes to, if someone needs a will, we can have an attorney come out to one of our pop-up events and help the person, create that will and, but we need to plan ahead a bit, but that's again possible. So the pop-ups are giving us a little bit more reach so that people don't have to necessarily come into our office when we have a wills clinic. Maybe we can have the attorney somewhere else bring the person to us, that kind of thing. So yeah, it's a really great question because that's a good example of a specialty. And it's a specialty, and yet it's something that people can do themselves. You can Google, do a simple will form, and go. There's no specific mandated by the state form to use for a will, so you can find that and do it yourself, and then perhaps connect with us or some other organization to help get that will finalized, witnessed, that kind of thing. So there's lots of possibilities, and it's a good idea to contact us because then we can go over all the resources that you have. And the pop-ups are a good place to do that.
Laurie, the people who staff the pop-up clinics, are they paralegals, or what is their role in your organization?
Well, often it's me, usually, and we've just expanded what we're able to do in that area. Sometimes we will have an attorney come with us. Actually, on Key Peninsula, you guys are really lucky. We have a fantastic attorney, Pat DeMarco, who just started volunteering with us. She has had a career in the Attorney General's office here in Tacoma. So she comes to both sessions on Key Peninsula. She is willing, ready, and able to answer general law questions. She's just a great resource. So Key Peninsula really has it together as far as having an attorney. But we are now able to offer a lot more family law services at the pop-ups as well. We have a licensed legal technician who comes with us now. We were just out at one of the libraries in South Tacoma last night. We have some of our family safety attorneys are now coming with us. So it's not predictable necessarily who is where, but I feel like this is a project that we're kind of getting together, and we're going to be able to target resources a little better as we get more people participating. So, well, one thing we probably can't do at the pop-ups is help people like sit down and fill out forms and that kind of thing. But there is an awful lot that we can do. So, yeah, good question. And the schedule for all the pop-ups, in addition to the second Tuesday on Key Peninsula, it's on our website. Just you have to go down a little bit from the top of the first page and look for the events calendar, and that will pop up, and you can see where we'll be.
Okay. One of the things that our organization deals with the most as far as family law is elder abuse. Is that something where you have a specialty attorney, or would that be in your family safety clinic?
That is more, it's something that we can we can potentially deal with, but it's more a situation of connecting people with state resources most of the time. That's what we've found. Yeah. Because this is elder abuse is a crime. And there's a special area of the prosecutor's office that deals with that. So we tend to refer people to other resources. And of course, sometimes when anybody who has a legal problem tends to have more than one problem. So these areas all intersect. So yeah, if there is an elder abuse situation, there may be some of that we can help with in other ways too.
Your explanation has been very clear. It looks like Nelda has another question. Go ahead, Nelda.
It's actually Ray.
Hello. I'm a
Hi, Ray.
retired healthcare professional, and I had concerns about legal services for people who have severe issues in Medicaid coverage, and also with the insurance commissioners. Do you provide services here in these pop-up clinics in that area?
We can talk to people about those issues and send them to resources. We also do have a social worker who comes out with us to many of these sessions, and she has a lot of knowledge about these things. Medicaid is a big issue right now. So
yes, that's the concern because of the current changes and everyone
yeah.
was on during COVID. You know what I'm talking about. Anyway, that was the big issue. That was the big issue this last week. Okay, thank you.
Well, I want to thank you very much for your time, and we're looking forward to being able to help even more people on the Key Peninsula with the pop-up clinic once a month on Tuesday afternoons here at the Crandall Center. And that is on the Mustard Seeds website and also on our Facebook page. So
Great. Thank you so much. This has been great. And happy to have people come back if there are specific topics you'd like to cover. It's great.
I'm sure we would like to do that. Maybe have arrange for one of your attorneys to come back and cover a specific topic.
Yeah.
Well,
Yep.
that would be great.
We'll do it. Thank you.
Okay, thank
We'll
you.
See you on April 11th.
See you on April 11th. Bye.
All right. Bye.